I think it's time we stop ignoring the obvious. Hey everyone. So this weekend, back on Friday, I took my daughter to go see SUPERGIRl. And she liked it. She's 7 years old. Of course she liked it. I, and apparently the rest of the world, did not. I mean, I'm not going to go into trashing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can get that anywhere on the internet. But the universal opinion is it wasn't that good. And it wasn't. I thought that this movie had potential, but, it didn't happen. And the box office are showing it's not performing as well as expected. And so, I guess, it's already been labeled as a flop. Whether or not it is, I don't know if it's going to be able to pick up the word of mouth or anything, but it doesn't look very good. And I think we've gotten to a point where we can stop looking at this as some sort of strange, off-key phenomenon. I mean, with superhero movies in general and action movies, including superhero movies, with female leads in particular, you know, we have seen this happen enough times we can start discerning some patterns. And I don't think there's anything wrong with pointing them out. I mean, I think, not doing so is a disservice. We kind of get to this point where every time a female led superhero movie comes out, we act in surprise and awe because it didn't do that well. And really, it's not a surprise. I mean, we really should be able to tell what's going on. So, I think we can start pointing out some corporate culprits who are responsible for movies like this not doing well. And I think the first thing we have to look at is, just the way Hollywood is approaching the superhero genre. Now, I know that the common phrase for this is superhero fatigue. And I don't think that's quite right. I just really feel like, and if you can look at the past few superhero movies that has come out, they've just been lazy. I mean, I feel like the effort is not being put in to make these movies spectacular, bombastic movies like they used to be. I mean, it's almost gotten to a point where it's just like, oh, here we go again. And, there's no excitement behind it. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, I think there's some major key components that apply to all these movies. And one of them is the movies just suck. I mean, movies have sucked for a long time now. I just think they feel like if they just throw some special effects on the screen, they got us. Because what else you're gonna do? Where else you're gonna see your Superman, Captain America, Spider-Man, whatever it is that you want to see. We're the only game in town. We own the IP. So you're gonna watch our movies. And there's some truth to that, but there's also some truth to people saying, like, oh, I'm not gonna pay money for this. I mean, it has been a long time phenomena that special effects have just been getting bad. I mean, they're just not good anymore. You know, I mean, how many more gray and or brown environments can we see? You have the full scope of imagination and literally devices at your fingertips that you can do anything. And every world you go to looks like it's a dust ball. I mean, why? I mean, I understand there's some cost factors. It's easier to make these grayish and dark worlds and everything, but nobody wants to see that. So we're getting to a point where it's like you got to stop, lowballing everything at praying at the altar of cost and cost savings, and realize that you got to stop making some good movies. I mean, you got to look no further than the Flash movie that came out a few years ago. Look at that. The special effects was just awful. And no one wants to see a 7-year-old Michael Keaton jumping around like he's 20 or something. I mean, just because you can do that sort of thing, it doesn't make any sense. And I think the final thing, and I hate to say because I have said what I felt about this for so long, but it's this whole thing of wokeness. And I feel like there is this feeling of when in doubt, yell woke. Everything is woke. Woke this, woke that, woke, woke, woke. I mean, you know, I've already stated many times that my feeling about woke is it is if it's non-white, non-straight, non-male, it's woke. And there's that's all you need to fall into that category, and then you can just run it down any way you want to. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Let me go on the record and say it's like I prefer movies that are like that. I mean, you know, we've gotten to points like, oh look, another 30-year-old white male single with no kids as the hero again. I didn't see that coming. I mean, maybe we should have some different things. But when we do these different things, we should go approach it like, let's make this the best that we want to. Now, look, everybody can't be Marvel, who got their Black Panther movie directed by a black director who just happened to be a fucking genius. I mean, that's not going to happen all the time. So we just can't just stack up these movies and just put anybody in charge of it just because they fit a certain demographic. I appreciate and understand that if you have a movie starring a female character, that you want to have a female writer or a female director. I get that. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But you need to have somebody who's pretty good in this, who's pretty good in this arena. And I think that this all lies at the feet of James Gunn. Now, James Gunn did not direct this movie. His fingerprints are all over it, but he did pick the director and the writer. Now, the director is supposed to be a pretty good director. I've never seen any of his movies. I didn't see I, Tanya and all this kind of movies, but I keep hearing he's a good director. But he's never done any action movies. And, to be in charge of a Supergirl movie, you probably want somebody who's good at action. And the same thing with the writer, who has never had a Hollywood script credit to her name. Why would you do that? I understand she has some association with Warner Brothers and all that kind of stuff, but you know, why would you put a person with no credits to their name to write $100 million blockbuster? And you can't say there's not enough female writers or black writers for that movie. I won't hear it because that's just a lie. I mean, look, there are dozens of writers out there just struggling and hoping for a chance to get recognized. And if you don't understand that, if you need some black writers or black directors, go over to the African American Film Festival that's held in Detroit area. There's some good writers and directors there. But I don't know what crop these guys are pulling from. What you need to do is, instead of just putting somebody in this position who has clearly never done this before and cannot write a script to that caliber, put them in a position where they can grow into their role. Instead of making some first time writer, make her an associate writer or a ghost writer. And for another movie, build her up. Look, I know sooner or later it's going to be either a Black Panther movie, and he probably already got a lock on who's going to direct that in that genius director I've already mentioned. But maybe it's going to be let's say a blue Marvel movie, or I don't know whatever female character Marvel's got left to ruin. I don't know. Let's a new Black Widow movie. If they know that now that they're going to make a female-led movie, then get a writer right now and have her write or co-write or work in the creative portion of a movie now, so that when this movie comes along of a female-led character, she can have some experience under the belt. I mean, I feel like James Gunn did this writer no justice in sticking her into the deep end of the pool and telling her, hey, here's a great movie. Since you're a female writer, have at it. I mean, she's never done this before. And I'm sure she's a great writer. I haven't seen anything she's done either. But it's like, who is this movie for, and what is her credentials to write this movie? I don't know, man. I just feel like Hollywood has lost the sight picture as to what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, if you're going to make an action movie, a superhero movie with a female-led character, first of all, you got to go into it understanding that there's a whole crop of fans who, just because it's a female, will just step out and yell woke at the highest volume they can think of, just to say they hate this movie for no apparent reason. And you do no favors by creating a movie that doesn't rise to expectations. Supergirl was not a good movie, and it really should have been. I keep hearing over and over again of how great Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the graphic novel, the story was based on. And we get this. The director himself said, I didn't read it. Why not? Would you make a movie about Shakespeare and not read the work? I mean, people gotta stop treating these works as just these comic book movies as just something that you can just do by the seat of your pants. You gotta know the character. You gotta give the people what you want. You gotta have a good story. You gotta stop giving us this crappy CGI and special effects. And you gotta give people writers and directors who are good at their craft, and not just because they fit a demographic. They're black or they're white, females or gay or whatever. You gotta be good, and people demand that. You gotta give them that. And until that happens, we're gonna keep getting these crappy movies. Now, look, I didn't want to review the movie because I really felt like everything's been said about it. It was genuinely disappointing. And I don't think anything to do with the actress. She's not ugly. I don't know where all that came from. I don't care what she said. Yeah, maybe she should have said the thing about, Supergirl being bi, and I don't even know what that had to do with anything. There was nothing about that in the movie. But the movie was just bad. It just didn't bring it. But what did you think? Did you see the movie? Were you disappointed? Were you happy? Were you surprised by it? I'd love to hear what you think about it. Because, besides my 7-year-old daughter, I don't know anybody who liked it. So, hey, comment below.